The ocean is relentless. It crashes against the shores of Freetown, Sierra Leone, swallowing homes and livelihoods. Each wave chips away at the city, pushing its residents further inland. We've watched our homes disappear bit by bit with every high tide. It's like the ocean is claiming what was once ours. Across the globe, Shanghai's iconic skyline is threatened by the encroaching East China Sea. The megacity, a testament to human ingenuity, now faces an existential threat from the rising tides. In Japan, ancient coastal villages grapple with a future defined by displacement. The sea, once a source of life and sustenance, now nibbles at the edges of our heritage. Bangladesh, a low-lying delta nation, experiences the brunt of rising sea levels with increasing severity. Entire communities are uprooted, forced to seek refuge from the encroaching salt water. The glistening facade of Miami, a symbol of American prosperity, is now punctuated by sunny day floods. High tides regularly inundate streets, turning everyday commutes into navigations through flooded urban landscapes. These are not isolated incidents, they are a glimpse into a future where rising seas reshape our world. The stories of these cities, though separated by vast oceans and diverse cultures, paint a unified picture of a planet grappling with the consequences of a changing climate. The water is coming, and it's bringing with it a humanitarian crisis of unprecedented scale. The science behind rising sea levels is straightforward, though its implications are anything but simple. As global temperatures rise due to greenhouse gas emissions, glaciers and ice sheets melt at an accelerated rate. This influx of fresh water into the oceans directly contributes to rising sea levels. The warming ocean itself plays a significant role in this process. As water warms, it expands in volume, a phenomenon known as thermal expansion. This seemingly minute change, when applied to the vastness of the Earth's oceans, translates into a significant rise in sea levels. The consequences of these processes are already being felt around the world. In Shanghai, for example, sea levels have risen by approximately 115 millimeters in the past 3 decades. This may seem like a small amount, but it has already resulted in more frequent and severe flooding events. Similarly, in Bangladesh, a country highly vulnerable to sea level rise, a 1-meter rise in sea level would inundate approximately 17% of the country's landmass. This would displace millions of people and have devastating consequences for the nation's economy and environment. The consequences of rising sea levels extend far beyond the immediate impact of flooding. As coastal areas become increasingly vulnerable, the frequency and intensity of natural disasters are amplified. Storms, once manageable events, now have the potential to inflict catastrophic damage. Coastal erosion accelerates as sea levels rise, eating away at shorelines and putting critical infrastructure at risk. The very ground beneath coastal communities begins to crumble, forcing residents to abandon their homes and seek refuge elsewhere. The human cost of these climate-driven disasters is immeasurable. Displacement, food insecurity, and the spread of waterborne diseases are just a few of the challenges faced by communities on the front lines of climate change. The potential for large-scale migration due to rising sea levels is a looming crisis. As coastal cities become increasingly uninhabitable, millions of people will be forced to relocate, putting immense strain on resources and infrastructure in receiving areas. Gap 3S. The human toll of rising sea levels is profound and often heartbreaking. Coastal communities, many of which have existed for centuries, now face an uncertain future. Families are torn apart as they are forced to leave their ancestral homes, and entire cultures are at risk of disappearing. The emotional and psychological impact on those who are displaced is immense, as they grapple with the loss of their homes, livelihoods, and sense of identity. In places like the Pacific Islands, where the land is rapidly disappearing beneath the waves, the situation is dire. These communities are often among the least responsible for climate change, yet they bear the brunt of its effects. The loss of land is not just a physical displacement, it is a cultural and spiritual crisis. Many islanders believe their identity is deeply connected to their land, and losing it feels like losing a part of themselves. Children, in particular, suffer from the upheaval. Displacement disrupts their education and exposes them to new risks, including health issues and trauma. The stress and uncertainty of their situation can have long-lasting effects on their mental and emotional well-being. Moreover, the economic impact cannot be overstated. As people are forced to move, they often leave behind jobs, businesses, and economic stability. The strain on receiving areas can lead to increased competition for resources, housing, and employment, creating tension and conflict. The human toll of rising sea levels is a stark reminder that climate change is not just an environmental issue, it is a human crisis. The stories of those affected serve as a powerful call to action, urging us to address the root causes of climate change and work towards a more sustainable and just future for all. A planet out of balance. The melting of ice sheets and glaciers, the primary driver of rising sea levels, has far-reaching consequences for the planet's delicate climate system. The influx of fresh water into the oceans disrupts ocean currents, which play a vital role in regulating global temperatures and weather patterns. This disruption can lead to more extreme weather events, such as intense heat waves, prolonged droughts, and more frequent and severe storms. The delicate balance of Earth's climate system is being thrown into disarray, with potentially catastrophic consequences for life as we know it. For example, the melting of the Greenland ice sheet is slowing down the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or AMOC, a major ocean current system that helps regulate temperatures in the North Atlantic region. This slowdown could lead to colder winters in Europe and warmer waters in the tropics, further exacerbating climate change impacts. The interconnectedness of Earth's systems means that changes in one area can have ripple effects around the globe. Rising sea levels are not an isolated phenomenon, they are a symptom of a planet in distress, a stark reminder that our actions have consequences that extend far beyond our immediate surroundings. Holding back the tide. In the face of this global challenge, communities around the world are developing innovative solutions to adapt to the rising tides. From building seawalls and restoring coastal ecosystems to developing drought-resistant crops and relocating vulnerable populations, the fight for survival takes many forms. In the Netherlands, a country with a long history of water management, innovative techniques are being employed to create floating cities that can adapt to rising sea levels. These structures, designed to rise and fall with the tides, offer a glimpse into a future where human ingenuity coexists with the forces of nature. In Bangladesh, communities are adapting to saltwater intrusion by cultivating salt-tolerant varieties of rice. This innovative approach to agriculture ensures food security in the face of a changing environment. These examples demonstrate the resilience of the human spirit and our capacity for innovation. However, adaptation alone is not enough. We must address the root cause of this crisis: climate change. Adaptation is crucial, but we can't forget that we must tackle the root cause. Climate change is the driving force behind these rising sea levels, and without addressing it, our efforts will only be temporary solutions. Global efforts unite. Around the world, nations are coming together to combat the rising sea levels that threaten our shared future. International collaborations such as the Paris Agreement aim to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. This agreement represents a unified global response to the climate crisis, with countries setting ambitious targets to reduce their carbon footprints. In addition to policy measures, countries are sharing knowledge and resources to develop innovative solutions. For instance, coastal cities in the United States are learning from the Netherlands' advanced water management techniques, implementing similar systems to protect their shorelines. Meanwhile, island nations in the Pacific are banding together to advocate for stronger climate action on the global stage, emphasizing the urgent need for support and adaptation strategies. Technology also plays a crucial role in these global efforts. Satellite monitoring and predictive modeling are providing valuable data to help us understand and anticipate the impacts of sea level rise. This information is crucial for developing effective strategies to protect vulnerable communities and ecosystems. The private sector is also stepping up, with companies investing in renewable energy, sustainable infrastructure, and innovative technologies to reduce emissions and build resilience. Public awareness campaigns and grassroots movements are empowering individuals to take action, from reducing their carbon footprints to advocating for policy changes. While the challenge is immense, the collective efforts of governments, organizations, and individuals around the world offer hope. By working together, we can build a more resilient and sustainable future, protecting our planet for generations to come. The fight against rising sea levels is a global endeavor, and together we can make a difference. The price of inaction. The cost of inaction in the face of rising sea levels is staggering. The economic losses from coastal flooding, the displacement of millions of people, and the destruction of critical ecosystems are just a few of the consequences we face if we fail to act decisively. The moral imperative to act is even greater. We have a responsibility to future generations to leave them a planet that is habitable and thriving, not one ravaged by the consequences of our inaction. The longer we wait to address climate change, the more severe its impacts will become, and the more difficult and costly it will be to mitigate them. We are at a crossroads, and the choices we make today will determine the fate of our planet and future generations. The science is clear, the urgency is undeniable, and the solutions are within reach. What is lacking is the political will and collective action needed to avert this crisis. The cost of doing nothing is just too high. We have the knowledge, we have the technology, but what we need now is the will to make the necessary changes. Our future depends on the choices we make today. The time to act is now. We can't wait any longer. Every small action counts, and together we can make a huge difference. The future of our planet is in our hands. The fight against rising sea levels and the broader climate crisis it represents is a battle for the future of our planet. It is a battle that will require the collective efforts of governments, businesses, communities, and individuals alike. We must demand action from our leaders, urging them to implement policies that reduce greenhouse gas emissions, invest in renewable energy sources, and support the development of climate-resilient infrastructure. We must hold businesses accountable for their environmental impact, supporting companies that prioritize sustainability and innovation in their operations. As individuals, we can make a difference through our everyday choices. By reducing our carbon footprint, supporting organizations working to address climate change, and using our voices to advocate for change, we can contribute to a more sustainable future. The time for complacency is over. The water is rising, and we must rise to meet this challenge with the urgency and determination it demands. The future of our planet and the well-being of generations to come depends on the choices we make today. If you enjoy our content and want to support Can Do Global Files, please subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us grow and bring you more amazing stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. It really makes a difference.